There are many theories about the Exiled Lands and their true nature, but is it even real? Welcome back to Raw Lore, where we discuss some of the more in-depth lore topics, and today we're going to seek to answer one question: is the Exiled Lands a dream? So firstly, let's jump in with the theory. What exactly is it? Well, the theory is that the Exiled Lands do not actually exist and instead are inside a dream. Essentially, everything that happens in these lands is merely imagination. This theory has two primary roots. The first is because the Exiled Lands is pretty much removed from anything else in Hyboria. Its mysterious nature lends itself to this sort of theory crafting. The second and vital root, however, comes from our old friend the Outcast. Banished from his frost giant kin in the north, he's easily the most intelligent one we meet, and he has some rather philosophical visions of the world.
Let me ask you, have you dreamed in this place? I have not. You cannot dream within a dream.
Does he have a point? Are we truly in a dream? The Outcast makes a compelling point, and he expands upon it more, saying these lands do not make sense. He asks if we have clear memories of a time before now, of childhood, or did we just blink into existence in these lands? Maybe he's right, or maybe not. The Outcast is an interesting character, but I do not necessarily think he's entirely reliable. Firstly, it seems his belief around dreams are born from trauma. When he was exiled by Hrungnir of the Frost, the Outcast was beat until the bones avalanched over his eyes. He thought he was dead, and that these lands were a purgatory. Eventually though, he thought more on it, and discerned that these lands may be a dream. We know the Frost Giants are not native to the Exiled Lands, and instead likely entered through the Disjunction, a portal in the far north, so these lands would indeed be foreign to the Outcast, and finding himself in a strange place that looks nothing like home, alongside of course a traumatic head injury, could have easily led him down the thought path of purgatory and then to a dream. However, another factor that makes him somewhat unreliable is that he is something of a meta character. To be meta is to make or show awareness of oneself or an activity taking place. It's usually comical or ironic, but not always. The Outcast talks about the events in the world, he has his own lore as well, so he's a real character, but he also breaks the line by making reference to things that do not exist in the world. His dialogue, "The Dark Universe is Yawning," is taken straight from a H.P. Lovecraft poem Nemesis, and his line about us being but a thought appears to be taken from Satan in the claymation movie The Adventures of Mark Twain. Furthermore, whilst his assertions about dreams are in-universe, he asks the question less of the exile and more of the player. That dialogue is designed to lean right into the nature of playing the game and quite literally popping into existence in these lands. However, let's steelman his argument and say he is a reliable narrator. He asserts these lands are a dream based on three factors. You can't dream in a dream, you have a lack of prior memories, and you have a lack of existence outside of the Exiled Lands. All three are most certainly true for the Exile, though mostly because it's designed to be a blank slate for the player. However, all three factors are dispelled by other exiles. Firstly, the Dreamers. Dreams are not a regular topic that NPCs will discuss in the Exiled Lands, but there are at least two examples of characters experiencing dreams. The first is found in the fourth journal from Rasma of Shem, found at the foot of a statue in the arena.
I fell down in a faint, dreaming as one who has inhaled the pollen of the Black Lotus.
This dream was caused by an interaction with the magic of the Giant Kings. Whilst it is indeed a dream, as Rasma slept as she saw these visions, it may not be a dream by traditional means. I'm a bit mixed if this counts or not, but I think it's worth documenting. The second dreamer is the Harlot, and the reference to her dream is found in the 8th journal at the entrance to the summoning place. I had a dream last night after bedding the High Priest, a dream of blood and water. This is far more fitting for the idea of a dream. Whilst the Harlot was a character that said herself she was plagued by dark forces, this is about as traditional a dream as you can get. There isn't a ton of information to pull on for dreams, but the Harlots alone goes a good way to proving that dreams can happen in the Exiled Lands. Next, let's tackle the other two factors together. A lack of prior memories and existence outside the Exiled Lands is a problem mostly for the Exile. A lot of other characters have deep roots beyond here. Metcamosis was a sorcerer in Stygia who was sent here by Toth Amon. The princess was sold to Tothamon and imprisoned here, Gilzan the treasure hunter displays knowledge of people who he thought were dead elsewhere in the world, Jamila the pirate queen speaks of her time sailing the Viliette Sea, and Conan literally just walks into the Exiled Lands. There's a lot of characters who have existed prior to their time here and have memories of the world beyond the curse wall. The real linchpin though is the Isle of Siptar. Siptar is a real place off the coast of Stygia, and when the Exile is shipwrecked here, the character creation screen lays it plain to see. Slave cargo for transport, one-way passage to the Exiled Lands. We know this island exists in Hyboria, and the character creation document states the existence of the Exiled Lands. Surely it's all but proven, right? The Exiled Lands is not a dream? Well, there's just one more thing. There is a theory that the Exiled Lands is similar to the Dreamlands in the works of H.P. Lovecraft. The Dreamlands is a sort of separate reality and is commonly accessed through, yes, dreams. However, the Dreamlands are not imaginary, but has a separate existence to the world itself. People are sometimes able to enter the Dreamlands physically through gates and portals. Further still, the Dreamlands are huge and parts of it are inhabited by humans who have built kingdoms and cities. My understanding of the Dreamlands lore is admittedly less thorough than Conan lore, but seeing as Exiles draws so much on the works of Lovecraft alongside Howard, perhaps the Exiled Lands is its own version of the Dreamlands. At first, I didn't really give this theory much weight, it just didn't pass the sniff test to me. However, the more I think about it and the more I learnt about the Dreamlands, I think it's very possible. Prisoners in the Exiled Lands are physically transported here, the Stygian army marched here in the Age of War, but if the Dreamlands can be accessed through a gate or portal, the same can be true for the Exiled Lands. We know this landmass isn't on the map of Hyboria, that's by design, but if the instruction given to reach them is sail here then walk below the gate found in X location, that could prove to be the passageway to the dream version of the Exiled Lands. If there are 10, 20, 50 or even hundreds of gates, passageways, portals, it makes the theory even more viable. We already know that Tothamon designed this place as an ultra-secure prison, and what better way to ensure your prisoners never escape as to put them in another reality entirely. The more I think about it, and even over the course of writing this video script, it's becoming more and more likely. So, ultimately, are we dreaming? I don't think we'll ever know for certain. There are some lore questions that will never get answered, and I do think this is one of them. I always viewed the Exiled Lands as a real place that happens to be off the map of the known world, but after doing more research, I think the Dreamlands theory holds some weight. I do not think our character is in a coma in Stygia and is just dreaming all of this up, but I do think the Exiled Lands version of Lovecraft's Dreamlands could be a very viable theory. As an interesting side note that doesn't necessarily mean anything, Funcom's next game, Dune Awakening, is seemingly set inside the spy stream of Paul Atreides. Make of that what you will. We'll never know for sure if the Exiled Lands is a Dreamlands-like separate plane of existence, or if it is simply a real place that happens to be off the map. It's something that will likely be heavily debated, as it always has been. If you have any interesting takes or information that I've not explored here, do let me know in the comments, this topic always interests me. Thank you for watching, and of course a massive thanks to our wonderful esteemed coffee cultists for continuing to support the channel over on Patreon. If you want to see videos early and support the channel directly, consider joining us over on Patreon, link in the description and pinned comment. Take care, and I'll see you soon.